Hey, it's Katie, and welcome back to my BookTube channel. Today, I will be doing a book haul for you guys, and I'm so excited to talk about all of these new books. I don't remember the last time I did a book haul, but I've definitely gotten some really cool books into my collection since then, so let's just jump into it. So I split this haul into a couple different sections based on when I got the books, and this first section is a bunch of new releases that I got all at once, and I am very excited about these. And the very first one I got was Blade of Secrets by Trisha Levenseller. This book follows 18-year-old Ziva, who prefers metal over people, and she spends her days in her forge to avoid society and the anxiety that it brings her, and she basically is able to create these weapons filled with power because of the type of magic that she has. And one day this warlord comes and tries to commission her to create this sword for her, and this sword is nothing like anything Ziva has already created, and it turns out that this sword can actually steal its victim's secrets. Then Ziva learns of the warlord's plan to use this sword to enslave the world under her rule, and so Ziva takes her sister and the sword and she flees. And they're also on this journey with a scholar and a mercenary, and it is a very interesting book. I actually have read this one. I just finished it last night. I loved it. I've always loved Trisha Levenseller's work, and this is no different. I'm actually doing a full review of this book, so depending on when this video comes out, I might already have it out, so I will link it below if it's already out, or it should be coming very, very soon. But I do currently have a review on Goodreads of all of my thoughts, which is also linked below if you would like to check that out. Up next, we have another one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and that was Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. And before I even get into the synopsis, I just have to show you this map. It's a colored map, and it is gorgeous. I'm so excited to dive into this world because this map is just so captivating, and I'm sure the book will be as well. And instead of reading the full synopsis or trying to explain it to you guys, I actually don't know too much of what it's about. I just know that I really enjoyed Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, so I was excited for another book from her, and I'm just going to read the little blurbs on the back because I feel like that's all I really know about it, and I feel like that's enough to kind of draw you guys in. So it says, a squire, the survivor of a failed quest, an immortal, timeless, and unfathomable, an assassin skilled and heartless, an old sorceress holding secrets behind her teeth, and a pirate's daughter, the ward's last hope. The heroes are gone, but the fight to save the world has only just begun. And it's so interesting that this is basically about like what happens when the world still needs to be saved, but all the heroes are gone, and like these are the people left to try to step up and save everybody. And I am very excited, especially because there's an assassin, there's a character that's immortal, there's like a sorceress and a pirate's daughter. It's like basically taking characters that are my favorites from all other kinds of fantasies and combining them into one book. And so I am very excited to pick this one up. After that, I have a couple contemporary romances, and the first one is Somewhere Between Bitter and Sweet by Laken Zaykemp, and I am also very excited about this one. I'm just going to keep saying that because I'm very excited about this specific group of books that I got. And I have also been waiting for this one for a while, so I'm so glad that I finally have my hands on it. So we have Penelope, who has always dreamed of opening up her own place next to her parents' restaurant, Nachos Tacos, but her parents have a different plan for her in mind, and so she's really struggling with what she wants for herself and also trying not to disappoint her Mexican-American family. When she confesses a secret she's been keeping, her world is kind of sent into this tailspin until she meets Xander. And Xander has been searching for a home since he was a little boy, and so his new job at Nachos Tacos is basically this opportunity for him to finally have a home and also to search for his father. But then the restaurant and Xander's immigrant status are threatened, and he will do whatever it takes to protect his newfound family and himself. Together, Pen and Xander navigate first love, and they also discover where they belong on their journey to save the place they both call home. This sounds like the perfect contemporary romance to me. We have the fact that it takes place at a restaurant. I always love books that have food elements to them. Also, these characters seem super sweet and very meaningful. They both are struggling with their own thing, and the fact that it deals with immigrant status and all of that seems like it could be a very powerful read. And I am just very excited to see where this goes. These characters sound great, and I've never read a book by Lake and Camp. I feel like this might be her first book, but I am not positive. It's definitely her first one to me, so I'm excited to see what I think about it. And then the last release I got with this group was Tokyo Ever After by Amiko Jean. I really hope I'm saying her name right because I adored this book and I definitely think she deserves a lot of hype. I will also be doing a review for this. Again, it might be out already before this video. I'm not sure the order of these videos, or it should be coming out very soon, and I do have a review on Goodreads linked below as well. But I loved this. It's so cute. It's like this fresh take on a princess story. It reminded me of the Princess Diaries, and it was just adorable, but also very meaningful. I really enjoyed a lot of the things that they talked about. So let me give you a little bit of a synopsis. So basically, our main character, Izumi, it's always been her and her mother against the world, but then she gets this clue as to who her father is, and she reaches out, and it ends up that he is actually a royal in Japan. And because her father is the crown prince of Japan, that means Izumi is a literal princess. And so she is flown out to Japan, and she has to figure out where she belongs, if she belongs back home or in Japan. She obviously doesn't know anything about being a princess, so she has to learn all of their rules and everything about their culture, and she's also meeting her father for the very first time, so that is another big element of the plot, and I loved everything about it. And while she's there, she's also assigned this imperial guard, or basically her bodyguard, and they definitely don't get along at first, but it could progress into more, and I loved Izumi. I loved the bodyguard, Kellen, I think was his name, and there's also just a lot of really great characters, and I loved watching Izumi figure out where she fits in, figure out who she is, and also develop the relationship with her father. This next set is basically a Grishaverse haul. These are a whole bunch of books I have not owned by Leigh Bardugo, and I'm very excited that I have them in my possession. And the first duology is the Six of Crows duology. We have Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I ended up getting the box set after reading library copies, and I really loved it. You can see more of my thoughts in my TikTok Maybe Read It reading vlog, but I wanted to own my own copies, so I bought this box set. I am a little bit sad though, because I thought that these would have the sprayed edges, like the red and black sprayed edges that you see all the time, but these do not have sprayed edges, and so I might end up getting the collector's editions at some point. We will see, because these are just the normal white edges, and I was very disappointed when I saw that. But I am really excited that I have these, and I'm not gonna give you guys a synopsis. I'm sure you've seen this all over the book community already, so I just wanted to show you guys that I finally have my own copies. And then the other Grishaverse books that I got were the King of Scars duology. I have King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, and I have not read these yet, so I am very excited to get my hands on these. And again, I'm not going to give you a synopsis. You've probably heard all about it, but even if you haven't, I personally don't really know what it's about. I know we see a lot more of Nikolai, who we met in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I don't know where I was going with that, but I don't really want to read the synopsis before going into it, so I can't really summarize it for you guys, but I'm sure it's all over Goodreads, or a lot of other people have probably talked about it. But I'm just glad I have my own copy, and also inside is stunning. Like, I did not expect to love these editions as much as I do, and it honestly kind of makes up for the fact that I was disappointed by Six of Crows. After that, I ended up picking up a couple books from a local coffee shop and used bookstore, and not really sure if I needed to haul this one, but I was just really excited about it. And that is a Christmas storybook collection. It's like a Disney story collection, and I'm obsessed with Christmas. I love different Pixar movies and Disney movies, and so I saw this, and the edges are like this shimmery silver, and I knew I had to pick it up. It was like super cheap compared to the cover price, and I could see myself reading this to my kids one day, but also I really just wanted to read it for me. So I'm really excited to have it. It has all kinds of stories from like Monsters, Inc. and Toy Story and 101 Dalmatians and, you know, Frozen. So many different really sweet stories, and I'm very excited to read this one. And then the other book I picked up at that same time was The Princess and the Fangirl by Ashley Poston, and I read Geekarella at some point last year, and I really, really enjoyed it. And so I was really excited to find this at that used bookstore as well because it was super cheap and it's also in really great condition. So I've been meaning to read the rest of the series, and now I can finally continue. And again, I don't know what this is about. I'm really bad about buying books before I know what they're about because I've heard really great things about them. Let me know if you guys are the same way. I don't really read the synopsis a lot of the time. I just hear really great reviews, and I trust a lot of the people in the book community, so then I just buy these other books. But I am not too sure what this is about. Let me read, and then I will come back. Our main character, Imogen, is basically this huge fangirl for one of the characters in that show, Princess Amara, and she is like, it's her favorite character, but she ends up hearing that the actress that plays that character wants to leave the franchise, and so Imogen will do whatever it takes to basically figure out a way to keep her favorite character from being killed off. And there's this case of mistaken identity. Apparently, Imogen looks a lot like Jess, the girl that plays Princess Amara, and so they end up kind of meeting each other and becoming enemies really quickly. But then all of a sudden, the script for the sequel of Starfield is leaked, and everybody thinks it's Jess's fault. And so, since they look alike, they decide to switch places and try to help each other figure out who really leaked the script. And obviously, that complicates things, and it sounds like there's also some kind of romantic possibilities that happen while they're switching places. So that sounds really messy, but really cool and exciting, and I am very excited to see where this book goes. This last chunk of the book haul today are a bunch of books that I got from Barnes & Noble a few days ago, and most of these are books that have been on my TBR for at least a few months now, and I've been really excited to get my hands on them, and so I finally went out and purchased them, and I cannot wait to read these books. Like, I am so excited. And the first one is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, and you also might recognize her as the author of Dance of Thieves, which is another book that's on my TBR, but I think this was either her debut series or it was definitely one that she came out with a while ago, because I think it came out in like 2009, something very similar to that. Oh, this was 2014. I don't know. It came out a very long time ago, at least in terms of the books I typically read, but I've heard amazing things about this, and I am very excited to finally start this series. There's at least 2 other books, I think, as part of the Remnant Chronicles, and all I really know is that it's about this girl who flees on her wedding day. So the kingdom where this world takes place is steeped in a whole bunch of traditions, and so there's a lot of things that our main character, Leah, feels like she can't abide by, especially the fact that she's supposed to marry this person that she's never met before as part of this political alliance, which is why she flees. And I guess it's also important to know that she's a princess and the first daughter of the House of Morgan, which is the name of the kingdom. And so when she flees, she also takes a whole bunch of these ancient documents from the Chancellor's like secret collection. And so she is being pursued by bounty hunters, and she ends up in this village or neighborhood, whatever you want to call it. And while she's there, she meets these 2 mysterious gentlemen, and it turns out one of them is the person she was supposed to marry, and the other one is an assassin sent to kill her. And if that doesn't suck you in, I don't know what will, because that sounds like the perfect plot for a book. I'm so excited to see where this goes. Just the kingdom in general sounds really interesting, but the fact that she bumps into these two guys, one's trying to kill her and one of them she was supposed to marry and she doesn't know who they are, sounds like it's going to be super messy, but super exciting. And I'm assuming there's a romance with at least one of them. There's probably a love triangle, but I'm not sure. Either way, I'm very excited. I still can't believe that I actually own this next one because I feel like I've seen it all over Bookstagram and it's been recommended to me a few times, and I'm so glad I finally own it. And that is Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angelis. And I think the sequel is coming out relatively soon. Or maybe it's already out, but I think it's coming out soon. So it's definitely time for me to finally start this duology. But a lot of people have said that if you enjoyed the Caraval series, you would really enjoy Where Dreams Descend. And Caraval is one of my favorite series of all time. You guys know this. I talk about it all the time. So I decided that I should definitely pick this one up. It's about time to jump into another magical world, and it sounds so cool. Basically, a bunch of magicians are facing off with all of these magical feats to become the headliner for the Conquering Circus. Whoever wins gets a ton of fame and glory, but all of a sudden something dark goes on behind the scenes and nobody really knows why. There's a bunch of accidents, injuries, missing magicians, anything you can think of that could go wrong basically does. Each act gets riskier and riskier, but the show must go on, and the three magicians that I'm assuming are our protagonists will do whatever it takes to make sure their secrets don't rise to the surface. Little do they know, nothing ever escapes the spotlight, especially with a game with no way out. And I really love that in the little blurb at the bottom, it says that this is Janella Angelis' debut fantasy duology where magic is both celebrated and feared and no heart is left unscathed. And I am captivated already. I'm so excited to dive into another magical world. I love that there's those dark, like, twisted elements as well. And this cover is gorgeous. So I can't wait. That's all I have to say about this one. You guys, I finally got my hands on my first Colleen Hoover book, and I decided to pick up It Ends With Us. And I've heard amazing things about this one lately. I mean, I always hear great things about Colleen Hoover in general, but I've been hearing about this one specifically a lot recently, so I figured this would be a great one to start with. And this cover is gorgeous. I can't believe I finally have a Colleen Hoover book. It sounds so good. So our main character, Lily, feels this spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon named Ryle, but everything in her life kind of seems too good to be true. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, and a little cocky, but he's also sensitive and brilliant, and he has a soft spot for Lily. But he has a complete aversion to relationships, which obviously puts a damper on things if Lily is attracted to him. As questions about this new relationship overwhelm Lily, so do thoughts of Atlas, who was her first love. He is basically a link to her past that she left behind, and he's a kindred spirit, and he was also her protector. But all of a sudden, Atlas comes back into the picture, and everything that Lily built with Ryle is threatened. I am just so excited to pick this one up. I feel like I've said excited so many times in this video, but that's about the only word that describes how I feel. But this sounds so good. It also seems to be a second chance romance, which I really enjoy, and I haven't actually read a lot of second chance romances, but I do enjoy the ones that I have read. So I'm very excited about this, and I can't wait to finally read a Colleen Hoover book. This one sounds beautiful, and I don't think I'm ready to read it because I feel like for some reason this is going to make me cry, and I'm not sure why, but we'll see what happens. I will let you guys know. After that, I picked up Daughter of Sparta by Claire M. Andrews, and this was one of my most anticipated summer releases, and I feel like I've been looking forward to this one for so long that I can't believe it's, a physical copy that I'm holding in my hands. But this is a Greek mythology retelling, or technically like a reimagining, but it sounds really, really good. So our main character, Daphne, has spent her whole life honing her body and her mind into a warrior that the people of ancient Sparta need her to be. But an unexpected encounter with goddess Artemis, who holds Daphne's brother's fate in her hands, upends everything that Daphne has worked for. 9 mysterious items have been stolen from Mount Olympus, and if Daphne can't find them, the gods' waning powers will fade away, the mortal world will descend into chaos, and her brother's life will be forfeit. Guided by Artemis's twin brother, the handsome and entirely too self-assured Apollo, Daphne's journey takes her through places like the Labyrinth of the Minotaur and the riddle-spinning Sphinx of Thebes, and we also get to meet a whole bunch of other people that you could have seen in Greek mythology, and I just cannot wait. It sounds amazing. I love any book that involves mythology, and I don't think this one will be any different. Next up, we have The Deal and The Mistake by Elle Kennedy, and these are books that I'd heard about from a booktuber I really love watching. Her name's Steph Bower. I think that's how you say her last name. If I remember, I will try to link her channel below because her videos are just really great. She seems so sweet, and all of her recommendations seem spot on for what I would enjoy. And she loves this series. It's the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, and she always talks about that, and I never saw it in stores, but when I was at Barnes & Noble, for some reason, on their book talk table, they had a couple copies of The Deal and a stack of The Mistake, and so I knew that I had to pick these up. I didn't think I would ever see them in a store, and so I was very excited to find them. And honestly, going into it, I didn't know a lot about the series. I just knew that Steph really enjoyed it, and that was really enough for me, but all I really feel like you need to know is that it's a hockey romance series, and every book in the series is a companion novel, so you can read them separate or you can read them all. But it's about different people in the friend group. I think they're all teammates on the hockey team, something like that. I don't know. I only have the first 2, but I read this one already. Really enjoyed it, have a review on Goodreads, and I haven't read this one yet, but I cannot wait to pick it up, and I definitely need to get the rest of them in the series, but I'm just so excited I have physical copies. And then last but not least, we have Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, and I'm sure you've heard about this one as well. I feel like I've heard such amazing things about this series, and I finally decided to pick up this first one. I think there's 3 out in this series now, so it's about time that I start it, but I cannot wait. I've heard nothing but great things, so I am very excited to read this one. So basically, Chloe Brown is this chronically ill computer geek, and after she almost but didn't die, she decided to create these 7 directives to help her get a life. But she doesn't really know how to accomplish some of these things, so she decides that she needs a teacher, and she knows just the man for the job, and this man is Redford Morgan, which is this handyman with tattoos, a motorcycle, and it says more sex appeal than 10,000 Hollywood heartthrobs. But once she enlists Red to help her with this list, she gets to learn a lot more about him, and she's very intrigued, and it sounds like there's some really interesting conversations that they're going to have about like financial status and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited, and they just look so cute on the cover, and there's this little cat. I'm excited to meet the cat. Hopefully that's not just to draw us in. I hope there's really a cat in here, but I cannot wait to pick this one up as well. I literally have bought so many books recently. I've also pre-ordered some, so I won't get those for a while, but I'm excited about those too. And I hope you enjoyed watching this book haul. I always love telling you guys about the new books that I get, and I'm sure you guys will get plenty of updates about what I thought about some of these, but let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought. I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell so you know when I upload next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to see you in my next video.